By today's standards, it's always sad when you learn an animal no longer exists in the wild, like we're losing something great in the environment because of it. Extinction is seen as a terrible end to any creature, and we should be working towards preserving that species as best we can. However, there sure were some that were glad went extinct long ago. From massive monsters to powerful predators, these are everything that haunts our dreams to this day. Otherwise known as the saber-toothed cat, the Smilodon was an ambush predator known for its robust build and exceptionally long canine teeth. It was built with a larger jaw than modern cats, and teeth adapted well by nature for its exact style of precision killing. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty glad we only have to deal with mountain lions and bobcats, unless you live somewhere a bit wilder. The saber-toothed cat may have briefly lived with humans, but likely died with humans, and the Ice Age finally putting the nail in the coffin. I mean, all crocodiles are terrible, but not all of them have it in the name. These bad boys lived up to the awful name. Dinosaurs of the time left fossils with Deinosuchus bites left in them. They regularly went toe-to-toe with our prehistoric predecessors. They grew up to as long as 35 feet long and were found in North America. Can you imagine one of these just walking through your yard? People freak out for less. We're just lucky they seem to have died out before the mass extinction events, because I'm not sure a meteor would have been able to do the job. With a name like Terror Bird, you get exactly what you're expecting. But if that's not enough, 2 million years ago they lived in the Americas and could grow to be something of 10 feet tall. Their beaks were so strong and sharp that a blow from the head could kill other animals by cracking their skulls. These apex predators from the Cenozoic era went extinct around the time of the humans, though they may have lasted in a much smaller form until recently in Uruguay. They might have been flightless, but if you've ever seen the power of an ostrich, you'd know that doesn't mean anything. Not to say there aren't giant squids out there, but the ones we have are nothing next to this one. They lived something of 460 million years ago and had a vast cone-like shell on top which aided them in hunting. Though at their size, 40 feet long and 2,000 pounds, they probably didn't have to compete very hard. I wouldn't say this is the inspiration, but if they'd lived a little longer, I could see humans making a big deal about the deep-sea kraken after seeing one of these giant creatures.
What's happening?
It's a huge squid. It's got.
To continue the theme of birds, this prehistoric vulture had a wingspan of 20 feet, was as tall as a human, and preyed on cattle. We know that even current-day birds are just evolved dinosaurs, but this one gives off powerful pterodactyl energy. They're the largest flying birds ever to exist, which compared to the current largest flying birds of the albatross and the North American condor, they're more than twice the size. This seabird spent most of its time swooping above the ocean for giant prey like squid and fish, and probably ate its game both live and whole. At a breakneck speed of 10 meters per second for its flight speed, we're lucky they've gone extinct. We may not know why, but we know we're lucky. Before we continue, if you've made it this far, go ahead and drop a like down below so we know you enjoyed the video. If you want more of our unique and engaging. Isn't it a bit crazy that almost all ancient civilizations have some variation of a dragon story? The Megalania may have something to do with that. This extinct species of giant monitor lizard inhabited Australia during the Pleistocene era, and it is the largest terrestrial lizard known to have existed. They vanished probably around 50,000 years ago and probably went extinct around the first emigration of indigenous settlers. If you think you've got some nasty relatives, just think of how the Komodo dragon must Decorohensis. You probably don't want to imagine a giant scorpion, much less one that's 5 feet long. In 2015, scientists discovered the Pentacopterus decorohensis in all its glory and used to swim around modern-day Iowa nearly 450 million years ago. Their successors would go on to be current-day ticks, spiders, and lobsters, but chances are they didn't last long after Iowa decided to be, well, Iowa instead of a seabed. All we have to this day are fossils and drawings, though a replica was created for National Geographic's Strange Truth program. Sometimes seeing is believing, but it would be better to go ahead. Chances are the prehistoric cousin is just what you'd expect, but more horrifying than you'd think. They were the size of boogie boards and easily about 3 feet long. With 2 rows of teeth where their current successors only have 1, these monsters were known to even go after beasts like the megalodon or Tyrannosaurus rex. With rising oceans, they were shuffled off to smaller water basins and couldn't sustain the large size, evolving down to make this change with survival. It would be nice if they were gone, but I'll take what I can get. Number 2. Megalodon. These whale-chomping monsters were a force to be reckoned with. However, we don't entirely know when the last megalodon died. It was probably around 3.6 million years ago after a global cooling event. The scale of these massive beasts is hard to put together. Their jaws could eat a complete grown man whole. To this day, the megalodon's 60-foot length makes them still to this day one of the most formidable carnivores to have ever existed. We still don't have an entire skeleton, but we know they probably would have stuck to warmer climates. The coastal towns of Florida and the Caribbean islands would probably not be as hospitable if they hadn't died out. Gains. At a massive half-a-meter length, the discovery of this 500-million-year-old species was beyond comprehension at the time. The Titanosaurs were considered giant compared to even most of the animals living in the sea at the time, which were all barely larger than a pinky finger. This mind-bogglingly large critter is to this day one of the largest animals ever found from the Cambrian period, complete with a tooth-lined mouth, spiny claws, and a body with flaps to better swim with. All of this adds up to an arthropod I'm very, very glad we don't have to deal with. When you think of apex predators, do you think of killer whales, lions, or tigers? Do you think of something massive and powerful and in control of its environment? Well, the Anomalocaris may be the earliest example we have of this kind of behavior, and it's a shrimp. This hideous 6-foot-long creature had tentacles with teeth in them, and they were carnivores in their time. We're just lucky shrimp don't look like this anymore, because I'm not sure a beach trip would be the same knowing what's down there.